2021 CVO Limited, 2023 Indian Pursuit Elite, 2023 CVO Road Glide. I own all three of them. I've ridden all of them, of course, and I want to talk to you about them. All right, intro. Keep it loaded, keep it loaded, keep it loaded, keep it loaded. Very nice, I'm looking at the camera. Heading on, good, good, good. Preloaders, V.I.Preloaders, welcome back to the channel, guys. Always a pleasure to have you guys here with me. And you noticed by now, or at least you should, for those of you that have never been to this channel before, welcome to you as well. My name's Robert. I'm a retired NYPD Highway Patrol motorcycle lieutenant, and the name of this wonderful channel is Be the Boss of Your Motorcycle. All right, guys, so I've been trying to get this video done, and between rain and the heat, it's been something to deal with. But, and as a matter of fact, it's starting to rain now a little bit. This is just ridiculous. If necessary, I'll just take the motorcycles in the garage. But I wanted to do it out here so I can kind of spread them out for you guys. As I've already stated, this is Violet. Violet's my 2021 CVO Limited. That's Gladiator. Gladiator is my 2023 Indian Pursuit Elite. And the newest addition to the stable, that is Misty. Misty is my 2023 CVO Road Glide. So the purpose of this video, guys, I want to talk to you about these three motorcycles. It's sort of a comparison, but not really. And I just want to give you my opinion on all three motorcycles. Obviously, I like all three of them because I own all three of them. But of course, there's other things I don't really like about the motorcycles. Nothing's perfect. I say that all the time. So I wrote everything down, everything I could remember to write down. I wrote it in a notebook, so I'm going to get the notebook and I'm going to just start going over stuff. Now, guys, here's what I'm going to say to you. I understand that when it comes to talking about a new motorcycle, you know, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to compare it to what we are accustomed to. And a lot of people, because they're accustomed to one thing, as soon as they feel or see something different, they're just going to write it off automatically because it's not what they're accustomed to. So my goal is to be as objective as I can. And when I look at my Indian motorcycle, when I look at my 21 CVO, and even when I look at my 23, I have to look at all three of these motorcycles and I have to understand that they're three different motorcycles. Two of them are the same brand, but they're not the same motorcycle. And what I mean is it's not going to ride the same. It's not going to feel the same. But especially if I'm going to talk about the Harley Davidsons versus the Indian. The Indian it doesn't feel the same at all. And it's not supposed to feel the same. Just like when I rode my Breakout. My Breakout, I first got on that motorcycle and I was like, oh my God, because in my brain, I'm expecting it to feel like what I'm accustomed to, a bagger. And it's not. That's not what it's built to. It's not built to ride like that or feel like that. It's totally different. So that's what this Indian is, and that's what I'm going to appreciate and accept from it, and then go from there. So I have to start from there. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a second, guys, because just because something's different doesn't mean it's bad. All right, guys, so first thing, I want to talk about my CVO Limited and Gladiator, my Indian Pursuit Elite. And the reason I want to talk about those two instead of talking about this one for now is because this is more of an apples to apples comparison. And I say that because both of these motorcycles are touring motorcycles. Now I know that that's a touring motorcycle as well. My Road King's a touring motorcycle. All of these bagger type motorcycles are touring motorcycles, but the limited model of the CVO is the ultimate touring model motorcycle. And I remember when people used to say, hey, all you have to do is buy a Street Glide, put a tour pack on it, and it's a limited. And that's just not true. It's simply not true. And they don't even feel close to being the same, right? They both come with the full King tour pack, so they're all decked out and ready to go. So I want to talk about them first. And I'm going to start out talking about my 2021 CVO Limited, and that's Violet. Now, Violet is a motorcycle that originally I purchased, and I purchased this motorcycle just for my wife. In other words, I just had my Street Glide, and I bought a tour pack for my Street Glide because the goal was, if I want to take my wife out for a ride, all I have to do is put the tour pack on that motorcycle, and bam, I'm ready to go. That's actually, it was a pain in the butt because every time she wanted to go on a ride, I'd have to take the tour pack down because I didn't keep the tour pack on it. I also didn't keep a 2-up seat on. I kept a solo seat because I prefer that look. So I would have to take the tour pack down, change the seat, adjust the suspension, and it was just a whole bunch of stuff. And if there was something she wanted to do, like, all right, I want to go right now, the bike's not ready. So I said, you know what? Let me buy a limited model CVO, and that way it's just ready to go when she's ready to go. And what happened is, once I got this bike, and yes, I liked the way it looked, but the way I feel about this bike now is no way near how I felt about it when I first bought it. Because when I first, any of these touring motorcycles from Harley Davidson that I ride, initially, they all feel uncomfortable. The handlebars are too low. The seat is usually too close. The suspension is not great. So, you know, but at this stage of the game, right now, this is my #1 girl in the stable because she is awesome. I love everything about her. I love how she looks, of course. I love the limited model CVO because it has more surface space. And by more surface space, I mean the Batwing fairing can be adorned with way more lights. Right? And I have custom dynamics lights all on the front of this motorcycle because it has a King tour pack. Custom dynamics lights all on the back of it, and custom dynamics lights anywhere it can go on the side. And that's what's important to me. You know, motorcycles don't have any lights on the side, they just have reflectors. So if you could put lights on the side, great, and custom dynamics took care of that. So all of that plus the upgrades, and we're going to talk about upgrades, the upgrades that I did to this motorcycle to make it feel so good to me. The upgraded seat, the upgraded handlebars, the upgraded windshield, the suspension, Wilbur suspension, the tab performance pipes on it, and man, it sounds good. It sounds really good. And I just recently put a stage 3 on Violet, so she's a 122 now, and she's been properly tuned. I definitely want to shout out Matt and Harley Davidson for providing me with that stage 3 kit. Highly, highly appreciate that because, man, the tab performance already sounded good, but now it sounds even better. Also, I got an SNS 472 cam put on here, also courtesy of Tab Performance, so I want to thank them too. Anyway, with all of this stuff, this motorcycle is just, it's comfortable. If I get on a motorcycle, and I don't do long distance riding, but if I'm gonna do like a 4-hour ride, I'm taking this bike, right? So, the appearance, like I said, I love the way this motorcycle looks. It has a great stance, all of that stuff. Everything about this motorcycle, I like. The protection on this motorcycle, now I'm gonna compare the protection of the lower fairing on this motorcycle to the lower fairing on the Indian. And again, this is another one of the things that they share because it's a full touring motorcycle. It has lowers. It comes with lowers. It comes with rear saddlebag guards. Like, it comes with these things. So that's a good thing. It comes with rear passenger footboards, not pegs, right? Both of them do, right? And they're both nicely sized too, right? I'm not really into the theme so much of the Indian motorcycle, any of the logos or stuff, but I do appreciate the size of the footboard. It's a good size. Now, as for the protection, on the Harley Davidson, that engine guard will better protect the lower fairing, in my opinion, than it will on the Indian Pursuit. And that's just because on the Pursuit, the engine guard doesn't protrude enough past the lower fairing to properly protect it. And I've already seen someone drop their Indian Pursuit and the front fairing, the lower fairing is scratched. So the engine guard didn't do anything for that. Now, with that being said, on the Harley Davidson, it'll protect it better, but it's not 100% guaranteed to protect it on that either, right? And the funny part is, it depends because I've seen it protected fully on some bikes and then not protected on others. We have to remember all it is plastic attached to the engine guard. So I don't know if it's where they put it. You know, I don't know. Like, these things are not perfect. So now my 2021 CVO Limited comes with a backrest. Now, this is not the stock seat, but the stock seat came with a backrest. And I would think that if you're going to have the touring motorcycle, the ultimate touring motorcycle, you have to have a backrest. Unfortunately, my Indian does not come with a backrest. And not only does it not come with a backrest, I would have to buy a backrest, and I can't even buy the backrest that matches the stitching on the seat that the motorcycle came with. So that's a no-no for me. Again, not a big deal, but it should come with it. When it comes to the saddlebags and the tour pack, on my Limited, the saddlebags have lights that shine into the saddlebags, and those lights are on the bottom of the tour pack. So when you open up the saddlebag, the light shines into the saddlebag. Speaking of the saddlebags and the tour pack, on Violet, the saddlebags come lined. The tour pack not only comes lined, but it comes with an organizer in there, and that's pretty cool. And on the Indian, not so much. Nothing comes lined, and actually the tour pack is lined, but it's very substandard. It's just cheap. It's because I say that because it's on every trim level of the Pursuit. They just put the same thing in every single one. And if this is going to be the Elite, it's got to be a little bit different. It's a lot different already anyway, but when it comes to something like that, that's simple. Just put a nice liner in it, put some nice liners in the bags. But if you're not going to do the bags, at least do the tour pack. My CVO, it has auto hold. That's not what they call it, but that's what it is, where you can stop the motorcycle, squeeze in the front brake or push down the rear brake all the way, and then the motorcycle will stay still. You don't have to hold a brake while you're sitting still. Indian does not have that. The signal lights. On a Harley Davidson, we know we have the switch, one on the left side, one on the right side. That's what I'm accustomed to. It's easier for me. On the Indian, they're both on the same side. And the issue I have with that is if I'm holding the clutch in and I want to try to manipulate that switch left or right, it's not that easy for me. My hands are not huge, but it's not easy for me. It's much easier on the Harley Davidson because where my hands are, all I have to do is go like this with my thumb and it's right there. Remote locking bags, that's a great thing to have. If you've owned a CVO in the past, that's not new. Since I've owned CVOs, the first CVO I owned was a 2019 Street Glide CVO, which I still have, that's Valiant. That has remote locking bags and you can lock it with a button on the fairing. All three of these motorcycles have remote locking bags, and if it has a tour pack, that's remotely locked as well. Alarm. CVOs come with an alarm with a chirping feature. The Indian has an alarm too. Doesn't have a chirping feature, but it does. If you press the button and press it twice or hold it, it'll give you like a quick from the horn. So, but it does have an alarm, and that's good. It also has a puddle light under it. That is so cool. Harley Davidson does not have that. Auxiliary lights or running lights. My CVO has them. If you get the Road Glide Limited CVO, it does not have them. But the Batwing fairing version does, and the Indian Pursuit has them too, and they're at the bottom. I like the way they look too. They're really nice. Heated grips. CVOs, they've always had heated grips, and that's no different for the Pursuit. It has heated grips as well. I do like that with the heated, unless I don't know any better, the heated grips on the Harley Davidson on this model, they're right here on the edge, and there's a knob that you twist. And on the newer model, it's actually a button at the end of the grip that you press, which I like better because sometimes this one would get cut on mistakenly. On the Pursuit, it's I believe it's buttons down here under the pocket on the fairing. And I prefer that to be up near the handlebars. Not a big deal. It's not like that's something you're pressing on and off and on and off a lot. I live in South Georgia, so it's very rare that I'm turning on the heated grips anyway, but I have used them. I like the grips better on my Harley Davidsons. Now on the Harley Davidson CVOs, well, not this one, but on my other ones, they come with the Kahuna collection. It's a nice, thick, firm feeling grip. Whereas on the Indian, they feel a little, you know, it's the same grips that they put on all the other ones. And this is, again, what I mean when I say, if it's going to be the creme de la creme of that line, put something different. At least with, you know, with the grips, do something different. Again, there's a lot of stuff different, but grips should go into that as well, in my opinion. Heel toe shifters. Now everybody doesn't like heel toe shifters. I didn't use heel toe shifters my whole career. That's only because the department didn't provide them. But once I got my first CVO and it had a heel toe shifter and I was able to wrap my head around what's going on with it, now I swear by them. I don't want to use anything else because I don't want unnecessary scuffs on my boots and stuff or my shoes or whatever I'm wearing. It's nice and easy for me to just kick down and kick up. So CVOs come with that. The Indian does not. I ordered it and it's back ordered. Turning radius. So now this is funny, guys, because when it comes to this, when it comes to all of this, and that's the funny thing about this, how you feel about any motorcycle that you prefer is going to be based on a number of different things. One of those things is how you ride a motorcycle. Now, I say this all the time. If you ride straight and make slight turns, which is what most motorcycle riders do, a lot of things are not going to be a big deal to you. How high your handlebars are, the radius of the turn of the motorcycle, that's not going to really matter to you because it's not how you ride. But preloaders and V.I.Preloaders and people in Preloader Nation, this is relevant. So when I get on the motorcycle, of course, the first thing I want to do is turn the motorcycle handlebars, lean the bike, and try to make turns as tight as I possibly can. And when I first got on the Indian, because I'm so accustomed to riding knees, I went to turn the handlebars and I hit lock like hard. And the only reason I hit it hard is because I thought I had more to go. So the Indian has a smaller turning radius, right? Which means I'm just gonna have to lean more if I wanna make a tighter turn. But like I always tell you guys, 18-foot or less U-turns are not necessary. Yes, it's something I like to do, but it's not necessary. So if I'm riding this motorcycle and I can only make comfortably 19-foot U-turns, 20-foot U-turns, I'm fine with that, guys, because like I said, it's not necessary. I accept the fact that I can't do it on that bike, just like I would have to accept the fact that I can't do it on a lot of other certain types of bikes. Again, it all depends on what's important to you, what's going to matter to you. That's what's going to determine what's going to matter to you. And that, like I said, that's a list of things. I'm talking about turning radius. It could be looks, cost, culture, whatever. And I meant to say this at the beginning of this video. The purpose of this video is not for me to tell you which of these bikes is the best, because what you buy is not always based on what's the best. It's based on what you like, what appeals to you. And sometimes what appeals to us, for whatever the reason, it has very little to do with it being the best. So the turning radius on the Harley Davidsons are way better. I have a little more lean angle on them as well. So of course, when it comes to slow speed maneuvers, I'm gonna prefer my Harley Davidson bagger type motorcycles all day. But again, because I am the boss of my motorcycle, if I get on a motorcycle where the handlebars don't turn as much, I already know what I have to do to tighten that turn. Because three things determine the radius of a turn: speed, handlebars, lean angle. So if my handlebars are at the limit and that's it, but I still want to turn tighter, I have to slow down if I'm not going at the proper speed, and I just got to lean more, that's all. Okay, saddlebag removal. Now this is not a huge deal, but again, it's because of what I'm accustomed to. If I want to take off my saddlebags on my CVO, or either one of them, no problem at all. It comes off nice and easy, just twist the things, boop. And if it's any wires to disconnect them and take it off. Whereas on the Indian, you need tools. You need an Allen key, and you know, listen, I'm a busy guy. I got a lot of stuff going on. So whenever I'm dealing with anything, I want to see how convenient it's going to be for me to use it, right? How convenient is it going to be? Is it going to make me work harder? And again, that's an extra step that, again, it's not a big deal, but just to point out the differences: tool, no tool. Keys. Now the keys that come with the Indian, they look good. It's a nice looking key, but you only get one of them. You get one key with the Indian, and you get two keys with both of these CVOs. Actually, all three of my CVOs, but I'm only talking about these two. Push start. So now, on the Indian motorcycle, you can push and the motorcycle will start. You don't have to hold the button when you push it. And this is whether the motorcycle is in gear or neutral. This, if you push start this motorcycle, this is the 21, you have to push it and hold it for it to start. On the new CVO, they've upgraded that. Now you can push it and you don't have to hold it. But that's if it's in neutral. If it's in first gear, you're gonna have to hold it. But the manual does say to start that motorcycle in neutral. Now I need to read further to see if they explain why. I wish that wasn't the case, because I don't park my motorcycle in neutral, and again, I don't want to have to do an extra step to start the motorcycle by putting it in neutral to start it. I'll just hold the button down like I've been doing it for years, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so that's all I'm going to go over with the Limited. Again, that's my girl. Love that bike. Now I want to talk a little bit about the Pursuit and some of the things I like. Again, the appearance. I think it's a beautiful bike. I mean, it really is a beautiful bike. In fact, the only part of that bike that I'm not really crazy about is the way it looks from the back. And that has a lot to do with the lights and the tour pack. And you know, I prefer, and again, this could be because of what I'm accustomed to seeing, but I prefer the look of the Harley Davidson tour pack because it's wider, right? It's longer, so it just makes the bike look better, in my opinion. Everything is kind of, you know, everything is symmetrical. And with the Indian, the front of the bike is big, and then it gets tiny like this. And you know, it's not that visually appealing to me. Of course, the other thing is that the lights, you know, I can't make those lights smoked. They don't, not yet at least. So everything back there is red, and I prefer everything to be smoked. Again, that's small stuff. The ride. Now, I am going to say that on my 2021, the ride is good now because I upgraded the suspension to Wilbur suspension. But when I first got it, no. Not good at all, guys. Not good at all. This, on the other hand, right out the box, this Indian, it's the smoothest, I mean butter smooth on a motorcycle that I've ever felt. On the 2023, that suspension is upgraded as well. Feels much better. It's definitely better than any stock bagger Harley Davidson suspension I've ever experienced. That's not even a question. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go on record now. I'm interrupting this. I'm going to go on record now and say that the 2023 CVO street and road glide motorcycles, these are the best motorcycles Harley Davidson has ever made right out the box. The best, period. It's indisputable, right? It's indisputable, the best. But anyway, the suspension feels great. Now, it doesn't feel as plush as this motorcycle, but it doesn't have to. See, and that's the whole point. Again, we're trying to compare which one feels smoother. It's like driving a sports car and a luxury car, or two different luxury cars. They're gonna have different feelings because they're different vehicles. So the way they built this Indian, they wanted to have a nice plush suspension, right? In this case, this is responsive, but it's not stiff anymore. And you can adjust it, of course, too. And you know, that's another thing too. On this one, you can electronically adjust it. Nice and easy, just with the push of a button, adding passenger, adding luggage, right on the infotainment screen. That's just beautiful. I was hoping that was something they were gonna do with the 2023 CVOs, but they haven't. I don't like to speculate, but eventually I'm pretty sure CVO Limited is gonna be coming out, whether it's the Batwing or the Shark Nose fairing. And I'm very interested to see what's gonna happen there, because once that comes out, that is gonna have lowers and or running lights or whatever, and maybe a better suspension. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to that. But the ride on this thing, it's phenomenal. And not only that, it's a whole different feeling, and that's the good thing. It's different in a good way. When I sit on that bike, the center of balance seems, the bike's 914 pounds, but it doesn't feel like it. Right from picking it off of the kickstand, like it feels grounded. And as soon as you start to move, it almost feels like, if you guys have ever ridden like a K1600 BMW motorcycle, it almost feels like that as far as the stature of it, not with the feet part of it, but the way you feel. It's like I can't explain it, but it's a good feeling. I will tell you that. You know, the only difference is the handlebars. You know, I need them to be a little bit closer to me. But again, handlebars is something I had to do with all of the motorcycles, and I'm going to be doing on all of the motorcycles, because it's always going to make the motorcycle feel more comfortable. But as far as the ride, I got nothing negative to say about it. It's a beautiful, beautiful ride. And when I get on the bike, I just want to keep riding. Now, that could be because it's new to me, and that's fine. New, exciting. That's what I'm going through with this CVO. And the beauty about that is it is different. That's what makes it exciting, because every year we would just get new paint, maybe something little here and there, but we didn't have to have the dealer talk to us about anything. Just give me the keys, I know what I'm doing. I love the fact that with this bike, I got to open up the manual, you know, because I want to learn everything. Some of the things I try to just figure out, and some things I can't figure out. I love that. I love to learn, and I'm going to learn this bike. I'm going to learn everything. Again, we're not splitting atoms here, but okay, so in the Indian, the gas cap locks. And that's not something I ever thought about. Every Harley Davidson I've ever owned, the gas cap doesn't lock. But just like our caps on our cars lock, because you know, somebody could come up and put some sugar in your tank or something crazy, you know, this locks and these don't. So it's a feature that I never thought about, even though all of my cars have it. And now that I know that the motorcycle has it and I've experienced it, now that's something I'm looking for. That's how this stuff works, you know. Oh God, guys, the trickle charge. So this is something that it still grinds my gears a little bit, because I feel like it's such a simple thing to do. And it's just something that, in my opinion, will elevate the line of CVO. And that's a trickle charge like they have on this Indian, right in the fairing, under a symbol that says Indian. You open it up and you can just plug it in right there. I don't have to get on my knees. I don't have to remove a panel. I don't have to have a wire sticking out from under a panel. So with everything that's changed, and I appreciate on this bike, something like that, I don't know why it was like an afterthought. When you got to think about it, this is the top of the line bike. How bad does it look to have a wire sticking out of a panel? And then you might go, oh, you don't have to have it sticking out. Yeah, but now I have to take a panel off just to do it, just to trickle charge the bike. And to have to go through that, if you're somebody that trickle charges your bike or hooks it up to a tender a lot, on the Indian, that's also good, because you can hook up heated gear into there. So it's right there. You don't have to have a wire sticking from under your seat or from under the bottom of the seat. And for most people, that's a red wire, so it sticks out like a sore thumb. I don't know. That's just something that's simple. And instead of it saying Indian, it could say CVO. Oh, it would be beautiful, right? So I'm hoping that's something they take care of. The kickstand. So the kickstand on the 2023 model It's not any different from the kickstand that was on the older models. If you've owned a Harley Davidson for years, you're already accustomed to putting the kickstand down and watching your bike rock forward and knowing that as long as it's in that little groove, it's not going anywhere. That's normal. But for people that have never owned a Harley, it's terrifying. They see the bike moving forward and they, oh my God, you know. But I prefer the kickstand on this Indian because when it comes out, it comes out aggressively, and it doesn't just go to the side of the motorcycle, it goes beyond. So you know for a fact that kickstand's down and it's safe to put the motorcycle down. It's got to be a reason why they make their kickstand like that. I don't know, but it's been plenty of people I know that thought the kickstand was down and went to lay the bike down and the bike fell. And that's simply because of the way it's designed. Okay, inverted forks. This motorcycle already had it. This motorcycle did not. This motorcycle now has it, right? So big improvement. Like I said, I already talked about the suspension. As a matter of fact, this motorcycle, the Indian, I believe it has a monoshock. So I don't know a lot about all this technical stuff, guys. I don't know what the advantages is with a monoshock versus two shocks. I don't know. I just know that thing's buttery smooth. Okay, the seat. So the seat that came with this bike was not comfortable for me at all. And if it was comfortable for about 10 minutes. And the longer I rode on it, and again, I told you, I don't do long distance riding, so it didn't take long for that seat to just start giving away and me feeling like, oh my God, my butt's going to sleep. However, this motorcycle right here, this Indian, that seat's comfortable, right? It doesn't come with a backrest, but it does come with a nice high separation between the front seat and the back seat, so you have a little bit of something to push back against. It's not high enough to be a backrest, but it's something. But it is comfortable, I will say that. The seat's comfortable and it looks good. Now on the new CVO, that's a new design seat. It's comfortable for me so far. I do have to change it, but right now we're going to be going through a waiting process with this motorcycle. And how ironic is this? That one of the biggest issues with Indian period is lack of aftermarket availability, right? That's one of the gripes. And we're going to be going through that with this CVO because it's brand new. So companies have to catch up. But how much you want to bet that they're going to come out with stuff for this before this? And that's just a supply and demand thing. If you're a manufacturer, you know, you're going to build products for the masses. And Harley Davidson is king right now when it comes to selling motorcycles. So it makes more business sense to get that product out first before they do this. But it's not just about that. It's also, things get a little more complicated with the BMW when it comes to customization. And that has a lot to do with the electrical system and stuff like that. And listen, this is the course of things becoming more modern. And so I understand that too. Like years ago, you used to be able to do all kinds of stuff with your car. If you buy a modern car today, especially a high-end car, man, you look under the hood, everything's covered, right? And if you go under the car, everything, you know, and sometimes you have to actually take the car someplace to get somebody else to do stuff because in order to do something simple that you used to be able to do years ago on an older car, now you have to move stuff to get to it. So that's what's going on with this, I think. You know, it's more modern, so that's why it sounds different, it feels different, it looks different, and yes, I'm gonna say it looks different. People that are telling me that this motorcycle, my Road Glide, looks like a Challenger, I just don't see it, you know. But you know, again, you can show 100 people the same picture, and all of them will tell you they see something different. That's just the way it is, man. We're all different, we're all individuals. You know, how many of you have seen somebody have something that in your eyes is ugly as ever, and they're just going on and on about how great it is? You know, and you might be compelled to say, are you crazy? But no, why would you do that? Because that's through their eyes, you know, and we're all different. So if somebody is that excited about something, I don't have anything negative to say. I'll just be like, hey, that's good, man, that's good. I'm not going to tell them I agree because I'm not I just can't do that. I'm not phony. I don't have a phony bone in me, but I don't have to say something negative either. Just say, that's nice, man, that's nice. I'm happy for you, right? Okay, adjustable windshield, Indian. Oh, let me tell you something, guys. And I said this before. I just can't think of anybody that would say, nah, I don't want an adjustable windshield. It makes the process so much easier. For instance, when I was looking to figure out which size windshield I want, that's the biggest thing people want to know, because once you get it, then you can't return it, right? If once you put it on the bike, they don't want to take it back. So you want to get it right the first time. So this gets rid of the guessing game. You can put the windshield wherever you want it. You want air, move it down. too much air, rain, whatever, move it up. It's just beautiful with a press of a button. So that's something that I had on my 2018 Indian, and of course they're still doing it, and it's just great. Okay, so talking about the stereo system, my Indian comes with 6 speakers. Sounds pretty good too. There's not a lot of bass, but it's not a lot of bass on any of these motorcycles. And even if it is, even if you put bass all in your subwoofers and stuff all in the tour pack, once you get to highway speeds, bass kind of goes away anyway, so that's not a big deal at all. However, on my CVO Limited, this has got to be the worst stereo system ever put on the motorcycle, and they should be ashamed of themselves to put it on a CVO. It's not, now this was the same year that Rockford Fosgate came out. 2021 Road Glide CVO and 2021 Street Glide CVO came with the Rockford Fosgate. For whatever reason, the 2021 Limited CVO did not, and I think this is like stage 1 for the Harley Davidson system. It's just horrible. It's so bad that when I first got the bike, I thought something was wrong with it. Like I took it back and said, something's wrong with this, but it's still bad. So that's something I want to take care of as well, because now that she's all good and I want to ride her more, now it's more important for me to be able to actually hear the music. I mean, it's bad, guys. And on my 2023 Road Glide, Rockford Fosgate sounds good, and it actually has good bass too. And I'm going to be doing a video, guys, showing you that I'm going to upgrade the 5x7s to some 6x9, so it's going to sound even better than it sounds now. Now, when it comes to storage in the fairing, definitely like that on the Indian. Storage on the fairing, storage on the lower fairing. So you got 4 different places to put stuff. Of course, my girl right here, this is the older model Batwing fairing. So all you have is that little pocket that everybody complained about there with the modern day phones, like my 14 Pro Max, that ain't gonna fit in there. But with the new CVOs, the Road Glide, the pockets are deeper, so it would fit in there. And on the Street Glide, there's a tray now. So this is why I'm really looking forward to the Limited model, seeing which one it's going to be, a Street Glide or a Road Glide. I'm hoping it's going to be a Batwing fairing, but you know, we'll see. The Indian motorcycle is liquid cooled, although it does run hot. Like it gets hot right around my right leg, the bottom part of my right leg. It gets really hot. This motorcycle is air cooled, of course. I'm sure you know that. And the newer model is liquid cooled now as well, which does not get hot, right? But it also doesn't have lowers. So for all I know, it could be getting hot, but there's nothing to trap that heat. It's just it's being blown right out. So we'll see, but I will tell you that when we were riding these bikes in Milwaukee, we were getting into them, and you know, no excessive heat at all. I appreciated that. Also, right out the gate. Now, right now, this motorcycle has a stage 3 in it, right? And man, she's fast. She's the fastest she's ever been. I think it's like, I don't pay attention to these numbers. I think it's like 129 horsepower and 130 something foot-pounds of torque. I don't know. They gave me the numbers and I was just like, yeah, whatever, because I don't care about that. But I did see the damn front wheel come off the ground, and that's never happened before. Kind of scared me. But anyway, that motorcycle stock is fast. I mean, it is fast. So is this motorcycle with this new 121 variable valve timing engine. Fast, fast, fast. Now, I haven't gotten into it crazy, and I haven't gotten into it crazy because I'm still breaking this motorcycle in. But it's fast enough for me. It wants to go. I love the way it feels. Same thing with that Indian. It's fast for me. I love the way it feels. It wants to go. It's comfortable. And same thing for this, but I'm gonna put an asterisk on this because that's not stock. Both these motorcycles, I'm talking about the Indian and the Road Glide CVO, they come with garage door openers, nice and easy. You can press the button. And on the CVO, you can actually use the flash to pass button and bam, open the garage door. The first one you set, it'll open that one. It's not gonna open the second one if you have that. This motorcycle, you could buy, I actually have it. It's a separate piece that you'd have to put on your garage door opener, and then you can use that to open up your garage door. All right, guys, so had to move inside to finish this video. The weather's just not cooperating. Started to rain again. Anyway, no big deal. Okay, so last, guys, I'm gonna focus on Misty here, and I'm gonna start with appearance because again, that's the first thing we notice about these motorcycles is how they look and what that means to us. And clearly, I like the way this looked. And for anybody that knows me or you're familiar with this channel, you know that I'm a Batwing fairing guy. That's just the look I've always liked. And Road Glides just were not appealing to me. I tried it out with a 2021 CVO Road Glide. Again, the color was great. This is the first time they introduced these spoke wheels, but it was a 21-inch wheel, which on this model, they've moved it back down to a 19-inch. And they did that because they understand that it's going to have a better ride with a 19-inch wheel than it will with a 21-inch wheel. So one looks better, one's going to perform better. that's from Harley Davidson. But I just couldn't get past that fairing. It just didn't do it for me. It used to be even worse, and then they improved it, and it was not as bad. But then it's so strange because some of them look okay to me, you know, like some of them look good. Like the practice session number 79, Dan's Road Glide was beautiful. But he had to do some things to make it that way. But anyway, when the redesign of this fairing just looks good to me, looks better than the Street Glide to me, and that's saying a lot. So they did a phenomenal job with the fairing on this motorcycle, going down into the chin skirt. It just looks good. The motorcycle on a whole, they did a phenomenal job. They really did, because it's not easy to try to redesign something from the ground up. And for this motorcycle to be, I think the only thing that's the same is the frame, the rear fender. Everything else is different, right? And this is why we're running into this thing now where, oh, we don't have a lot of aftermarket options. But they're coming, guys. I know they're coming, but I just think the bike looks great with the scorched chrome, this color, and the Whiskey Neat. Again, the Whiskey Neat, the only reason I didn't get the Whiskey Neat, as good as that motorcycle looks in person, it's a phenomenal paint job, but that color clashes with me and my taste and the stuff that I wear. And believe it or not, I want my motorcycle to a certain point to match what I'm wearing, right? I want to be coordinated any way that I possibly can, and that color is going to clash with a whole bunch of stuff, all right? So anyway, appearance-wise, I think it looks good. The headlight looks way better. That was my biggest problem with the current Road Glide. I didn't like those two lights in the front. So when people switched that with the aftermarket light that was just a solid light, that looked way better to me. The windshield looks nice, but just like the prior CVO Road Glide windshield, it looks nice, but it wasn't really functional. So, of course, I'll be changing that out. The mirrors they put on the bike, they picked out the perfect mirrors. I think they look nice. They look modern. I'm a modern guy. I like modern things. The pinstriping on this motorcycle, the lighted gauges, like everything is new, and it's just, I feel like a kid, and I just want to play. I want to go out and play and learn, and I love it all. But of course, as nice as I like the front light, and it is bright, it is very bright. As much as I like that front light, and as much as I like the rear lights, which I did not like when I first saw them, but again, that's because my mind, my eyes were accustomed to seeing a CVO Road Glide and Street Glide with long vertical lights. And when I saw these lights, I'm like, oh, they're different. I don't like them. Just like with the Saddlebags. Whoa, that's different. I don't like them. Very quick to make a quick judgment, but once I actually looked at them, appreciated what went into not just making a box, but giving it contour. And then at the back, having it come down and then go like this. The angles, like it's outside the box thinking. And although I say, I like stretch bags better, my Limited does not have stretch bags because Limited models don't come in stretch bags. And I'm fine with that. So, you can get used to anything, but those grew on me really quick, like when I was out in California, really quick. So appearance, lights, I love the fact that the rear lights they are extremely bright. It's almost like a frosted look to them, but they are bright, and I like that they differentiated the turn signal from the lights, from the brake lights and the running lights. And it's amber, so you'll be able to see it more. It will get more attention, but of course, I need some custom dynamics lights on this bike, so as soon as that's available, it's going on you every place it can, Misty. And you too, Gladiator. The infotainment screen, guys, is probably the biggest, in my opinion, it's the biggest thing on this motorcycle. So much so that I firmly believe that that's going to carry down to the lower models. And I say that because if this is what they've now designed, they're not going to, in my opinion, they're not going to design something else to fit something older into the fairing. If this is already done, all they have to do is mass produce that. And I think that alone is going to make a bunch of people want to trade in, either trade in their older models or add this as an addition, this style. Because it is just a beautiful, it's the biggest screen available on a motorcycle. It's the biggest screen. The font looks good. All of the information that you need is right there. It's so funny because when I was bringing the motorcycle home, I put it into the trailer, and I'm like, oh man, how do I put it in transport mode? Because we don't have to deal with this. Oh man, I messed up, got to start over. right? I'm talking about if you're trying to put in the passcode that you make up for the motorcycle, which I still haven't done yet. But beautiful screen, no matter how bright it is outside, I can see it. I can see it clearly through polarized lenses. And that's always been a big thing. A lot of times with polarized lenses, I can't see certain displays. But just a beautiful, beautiful screen. Now, Gladiator, on the other hand, I like that infotainment screen better than I like the infotainment screen on Violet. What I don't like is, yes, it has analog gauges, but in those analog gauges, it has digital gauges that will show you what gear you're in. But I mean, it is so dated, it's ridiculous. It looks like an old calculator. That's what it looks like. So at some point, they're gonna upgrade this motorcycle as well. And I'm hoping that they're gonna address that because, and when I say address that, I'm talking about, forget about those little screens that look like calculators. Get rid of the analog gauges altogether. And I'm saying this to you guys because there were certain people that said, you know what? I don't like the gauges. I don't like all digital. You know, there's old school people out there. I get that. But it's important that you know that's the future. I got 2 cars sitting outside. There's no analog gauges on either one of them because that's the future, right? Gauges, analog gauges are going away. Now, on the digital gauges, you can pick an option where you can see some analog gauges, but it's still digital. So I say this all the time. Technology, it's always going to keep moving forward. Everything's going to keep moving forward. That train's not going to stop. You can either get on or watch it pass you by. That's all I'm going to say. And for those people that said, I don't want to get this bike yet because everything is in there, what if something goes wrong? Something could go wrong with anything. I do get that. I understand it's a concern. But here's what I'll say, and this is what I was talking about in a prior video when I said I was going to talk to you about YOLO and this bike. I've heard people say, you know what? I'll wait until the 2nd year or the 3rd year before I buy it. How do you know you're going to still be here 2 years from now, a year from now? I say this to say, if there's something that you want and you can get it, get it. We can't take for granted that we're going to be here a year from now. We can't take for granted we're going to be here tomorrow. All right? Please, you guys have to understand that. The one thing we can't get back is time. So, all right, now you got me getting away from what I'm talking about. Suspension, I already talked to you guys about that. The handlebars. Oh my God, guys. What a huge improvement. Remember I told you this is the best motorcycle Harley Davidson has ever built stock out the box? Well, the change of these handlebars, that was huge because the old model handlebars on the Road Glide, those wheelbarrow handlebars, for me, were atrocious, like unusable almost. And on the Street Glide, even worse. But talking about this, they redesigned these handlebars now where this is the first bagger style motorcycle that I rode stock, and the handlebars were comfortable, beyond comfortable. Like I got on this bike and I just wanted to, oh my God, just on top of the fact that this bike is now 35 pounds lighter. So I'm telling you, you get on this bike, guys, and you feel the weight difference if you've ridden a Road Glide before, as soon as you take it off of the kickstand, right? 5 pounds difference just in wiring, right? So they've made a lot of changes on this motorcycle. And again, guys, 35 pounds like trimmed off of a motorcycle is a lot of weight, a lot of weight. So for them to do that and me look at this motorcycle and still say, wow, this thing looks good, that's just phenomenal. So I can't say enough about the great job they did on this motorcycle. Now here's some of the things that come along with a CVO, not just this one, but the two others that I've owned. It comes with a headset, a Bluetooth headset for your helmet. So it's already ready to be connected to the motorcycle. That's cool. It comes with a CVO cover, like a nice looking cover too. Mine is still vacuum sealed because, you know, I don't go any place really where my bike is parked outside and I have to worry about covering it up. Although I should have put a cover on the bikes I put outside the garage because right now it's storming on them. And the last thing I'm gonna talk to you guys about with these 3 motorcycles is the price. So the first motorcycle I talked about was Violet, my 2021 CVO Limited. I don't know what the MSRP was for this bike, but I paid $44,000 for it. Again, that's a 2021. My Pursuit Gladiator, MSRP $39,999, so 40 grand. And lastly, Misty 2023 CVO Road Glide, MSRP $42,999. Now, not just me, a lot of people expected this bike to be way more expensive than it actually is. And it's because it's comparable to the CVOs I've paid for in the past. And I'm talking about, you know, not with a markup, right? So I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they kept this motorcycle affordable. And I put that in quotes because affordable is different for everybody. You know, I'm glad they did that because it made it more attainable for more people. Now, what I am going to talk about that it kind of makes me chuckle a little bit is when people complain about the price of not only the CVOs, but of Harley Davidson motorcycles, period. They complain about the price. And guys, you have to know that if we were talking about food, shelter, clothing, you know, necessities in life, that's something we can complain about the price of. But a motorcycle, these are toys, right? This is a toy. And to complain about the price of a toy is ridiculous. Now, and for those people that say, well, no, for me, it's my only means of transportation. Yeah, that's great. You don't have to buy a $30,000 motorcycle for that. You can buy a $10,000, a $5,000 motorcycle you can buy for transportation. You know, so I don't like to really pay too much attention to talking about cost and how much a CVO costs, because this is the top of the line for Harley Davidson. It's exclusive. And because of that, everybody is not supposed to have it. Just like everybody's not supposed to live in a mansion. Everybody's not supposed to drive the top line of a car. That's why vehicles come in different trim levels. Everybody's not going to be able to get the top trim level. I mean, that's just the way things are. And to sit around and complain about it, to me, it's just a waste of time and it's a waste of breath. And here's the last thing I'm going to say to you guys. Out of all three of these motorcycles, which motorcycle do I prefer? Which one do I like the best? So when I do my practice sessions, I tell people all the time that when they ask me certain questions about slow speed maneuvers on the motorcycle, my answer is usually, it depends. And I'm going to let you guys know that that's the same answer I'm going to give you with these three motorcycles. Which one do I like to ride the best? It depends. It depends on what kind of riding I'm going to do that day. It depends on how I'm feeling. And as crazy as I am, it depends on what I'm wearing, right? It depends on how I'm feeling. And that's a good thing because all of them, I'll ride them out of this garage and I'll have a great ride. I'll feel good about it because they're all going to give me what I want. They're going to give me speed. They're going to give me comfort. They all have music, although the music on Violet sucks. I got to take care of that. But as long as I appreciate everything that they have in the moment that I'm riding them, I'm happy. If I ride this motorcycle, I'm going to appreciate everything it has and how it feels. And the funny thing is, when you get off one motorcycle and get on another, immediately you feel the difference. Immediately. But once you start riding for a few miles, now if you get off that motorcycle and get back on the one you were on, whoa, it's going to immediately feel different again. So it's amazing how quickly that happens. And guys, I understand that when you're buying a motorcycle, especially a motorcycle that costs as much as these motorcycles, you want to almost love it before you make that decision. Now, let me give you an analogy. I wear really two brands of jeans. I wear Lucky brands, which I'm wearing right now, and Calvin Klein. Those are the jeans that I wear. Now, if jeans cost $40,000, I probably would have one pair of jeans. Like most people have one pair of jeans. And when it comes to motorcycles, a lot of people might look at this Pursuit and love the way it looks. They might ride it and love the way it rides. But if they have to compare that to something they're familiar with, which is a Harley Davidson, because they can't get both, they're going to pick the one that they feel most comfortable with. So, and the reason I'm saying that is because if we flipped it and the motorcycles cost $100, like the jeans do, a bunch of people would have more than one brand of motorcycle. Now, I'm only talking about Indian and Harley Davidson, but it could be Indian, Harley Davidson, it could be Kawasaki, BMW, whatever. Goldwing, Honda, the Cadillac of motorcycles. And that's another point, guys. If the question is, which motorcycle is the best? That's another question that it's irrelevant. And I say it's irrelevant because it's never about what motorcycle is best when you choose your motorcycle. It's about what motorcycle you prefer, which one speaks to you, which one appeals to you. That's the motorcycle you're going to buy. Damn what anybody has to say about it. That's the motorcycle you're going to buy. And guys, I'm going to be doing a video talking about why people choose the motorcycles they choose. In particular, I'm going to be talking about why people choose Harley Davidson so much. And I'm looking forward to doing that video because it's going to be like a discussion. If you were clicking on this video expecting to hear me bash Harley Davidson or hear me bash Indian, say this one's good, this one's bad, that's not going to happen. The reason that's not going to happen is because I really, why would I buy something and just bash it? Now that doesn't mean it's perfect. There's going to be things that I don't particularly care for. But again, there's nothing about any of these motorcycles it's a deal breaker. Because if it was, I wouldn't have purchased it. I'm going to enjoy riding all of them for what they are. I know they all look good. I'm going to be the boss of all of them, and that's the key. I understand that my Pursuit is going to give me some things that my Harley Davidson is not. I understand that this Harley Davidson is going to give me some things that this one isn't, and vice versa. Like, I understand that. So I accept it. And so my point is, you're not going to get it all in one motorcycle. And if you're blessed enough to be able to get more than one, do that and live in both worlds. And I'm keeping this video just talking about the motorcycles. I'm not talking about dealerships and culture and all that other stuff. That's a whole different subject that I'm going to talk about in the next video, where I'm talking about why people choose Harley Davidson so much over other brands of motorcycles. All right, guys? All right, listen, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I'm sorry if it was a little all over the place, you know, weather, me moving motorcycles around, but I wanted to get this video to you guys because they're coming to pick up Misty tomorrow morning to take her back to the dealership to get some stuff done to it. And I'll talk to you guys about that when I get her back. All right, guys? All right, listen. If you like this video or you got anything out of it or any of my videos, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share these videos, and hit that notification bell. Switch it to all so that you get notified every time I put out a new video. Spend more time being thankful for the things that you have, guys, and less time complaining about the things that you don't. Seat time doesn't equal practice time, guys, and if you have time to ride your motorcycles, you have time to practice on them. Let me see something. I'm going to open up this door, guys, because my other two motorcycles are outside in the storm. Lightning out there. We're under a thunderstorm watch. I kind of put my girls over there, try to tuck them away a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I don't want to get struck by lightning. So we move these girls around, put them back where they need to be, and then bring those in. I'll probably wait until I'll definitely wait until the thunder stops and the lightning, and then I'll bring them in and I'll wipe them down. Till next time, guys.